my channel. If you're new here, my name is Adrian. I am a nursing student at Chamberlain University. Today's video is going to be an overview of Health Assessment 1 and Pathophysiology, which I just took. I would have made this video a lot sooner, but I'm on summer break, which is like 1 week because Chamberlain goes all year long. So yeah, 1 week is not enough in my opinion, but it is what it is. So I've been traveling, and so now I'm back and I'm finally able to sit down and make this video. So first I would like to start with pathophysiology. So pathophysiology for me, and this is a disclaimer, this is something really important you need to know. This is not something that affects all campuses, but this is something that affects some campuses. It's definitely affected mine. On my campus, we have a shortage of professors, and so all of the major nursing courses, those have, you know, professors. But pathophysiology and pharmacology, these are courses that are offered 100% online. And like I said, this is something that affects my campus. So if you want to know if this affects your campus, email your advisors, because that's what I did. And also, you can also ask upperclassmen at your campus. You know, you can find them on Instagram, you know, send them a message and ask them. That's also something that I did as well. So that was something that I did. I ended up messaging some upperclassmen who go to my campus because I was a little bit concerned about the fact that, you know, I'm fixing to take patho online. So I messaged a bunch of upperclassmen and I asked them, like, how did you survive? How did you do it? And every single one of them, you know, had their own studying methods, you know, to pass patho. And all of them that I messaged, you know, in regards to pathophysiology, they all made like A's in patho. So if patho is offered 100% online, meaning no lectures, don't panic. You can still make it, you can still survive. The way I would describe patho is, patho for me, it was basically structured the same way as a general course. And I made a video before about general courses. You can find it on my channel. So you can go back and watch that one if you want to get more information. So it's basically structured like a general course. So in patho you have 8 weeks. 7 weeks that you have, week 8 is the week that you take finals, right? But weeks 1 through 7, you have, each week is a unit, and in that unit you'll have, you know, 1 or 2 chapters from the textbook. This is my textbook right here. It's Golds, I think that's how you say it, Pathophysiology. It's got all these, look at all these sticky notes on it. I used my textbook for sure. I mean, I know for me, most of the time in nursing school, people tell you like, oh, you know, you don't need your textbooks. Well, for me, in my opinion, you know, when you're provided the textbook does provide lots of really good information. So I definitely used mine, and I used, as you can see, I used the physical hard copy, which I bought on Amazon, rather than the ebook. So you would have, you know, like 1 or 2 chapters in each unit. So because it's structured like a general course, you have a lot of buffer, and like, you basically have a lot of like buffer assignments. That's kind of what I call it. So because it's like a general course, you have discussions, you have assignments. So those discussions and assignments that you do, those really boost your grade. So like I said, if you find out that you're taking patho 100% online, don't panic. Like, you know, don't panic, you know, just stay on top of everything and you'll be fine. So yeah, so getting into the grades, so like I said, each week you have 1 or 2 chapters. Each chapter in the book, you know, for example, there was the respiratory system. I think that one had like like probably 30 diseases. The issue that I had, and here's the thing that you really need to know is like kind of something you need to look out for is, you know, at Chamberlain, you know, you start off taking NR 103, NR 222, you know, those are nursing courses, but like the real beginning of nursing school is with Health Assessment 1 and Patho. Like this is the real beginning of nursing school. And with that, you really have to figure out how to study. And it took me a while. It took me a minute to figure it out because I was struggling when I first started this course. We don't have lectures. The only lecture that we have is a like 1.5 hour like review session every week, which for me, my professor was actually really good. She did a really good job explaining things. You have the textbook, and what's provided for you, you have PowerPoints that come from the book. The PowerPoints have all the information from the book, but it's simplified. So the PowerPoints are really helpful. So I study with both. I use the book and the PowerPoints. I also use these. These are Pathoflash flashcards by Valerie I. Leak. I bought these at Barnes & Noble, but I think you can get a 3rd edition of these on Amazon, so you can probably find those. I'll probably link it for you guys in the description. So I would use these flashcards, and so for example, let me look for y'all. So for example, this is like the section for cardio. So these are the cardiac diseases. Now, the most important diseases that you need to know are the ones that are in the book, because the exams go from the book. So whatever diseases are in the book within the chapter, those are the diseases you need to know. Really, with each chapter, you have like, you know, 30 or so diseases. And so I think, in my opinion, you really need to know the diseases, just like the summary of the diseases. You don't have to know every single little detail about the disease, because when it comes to exams, each exam is 50 questions. So literally, like I said, you don't have to know the itty bitty tiny details of the disease. You have to know and understand the whole picture. You have to know and understand how that disease affects the body overall. You really don't need to know like every single specific thing about the disease, because that's kind of like what doctors know. As nurses, it's like we only need to know the summary of the disease, whereas doctors need to know like the disease from all angles, you know? For us, we don't really need that. Exams, you have 3 exams, and so that's kind of how the grade is split up when you take Patho. Half of your grade consists of assignments. So discussions, assignments. There's one RUA paper that you have to write, which is not hard. None of the assignments are hard. And so half of your grade is assignments. And so if you do poorly on an exam, like I did, literally my first exam, I studied for it. But then when I took it, I barely passed my first exam, and that's kind of where I realized that my studying methods were not working, because I was not retaining the information like I thought I did. And so that was a learning lesson. But with assignments, I was able to boost my grade up. And so I was able to, you know, be successful in this course. So by the time I made it to my second exam, I had developed new ways of studying. You know, I used flashcards, I used PowerPoints, I used my textbook. I don't read every chapter thoroughly. I kind of flip through the chapters and I look at each disease that are within the chapters. And I would study with the PowerPoints to get, you know, all of the simple information. And then I would use the textbook to get extra information to help me understand the disease more. So that's how I would study. And I would also use these flashcards. With pathophysiology, I decided to go ahead and get a subscription to Picmonic. and nursing.com. I have heard really good things about both. I've heard nurses, like people who are actual nurses, say that, oh, I wish I could have had these when I was in nursing school. So I decided to try them. You know, with these subscriptions, you know, you can always cancel them if you don't like them. So I decided to use both Picmonic and nursing.com, and I feel like they really helped me a lot. So it's a really good idea to, when you're studying patho, to, you know, learn about each disease in different ways. So for example, I'm a visual learner, so I need to see things visually. So Picmonic is really helpful as well, you know, with that. And nursing.com, on nursing.com, you can look up a disease, and every single disease, when you search, there'll be like a 10-minute video. And in that 10-minute video, they will tell you the most important pieces of information you need to know. And so that's also really helpful, because, you know, you have these entire chapters in the book that are really long, and you can't possibly read the entire chapter. It's just, it takes way too long, and you have more diseases you need to study. Sometimes I would even look on YouTube, and for one disease, there's like a 30-minute video on YouTube, and that's just not helpful. So with pathophysiology, when you're going through each chapter, I would say that you really don't need to know the anatomy. If you feel like you need to review anatomy, go ahead. I know for me, when I got to cardiovascular, I wanted to review the cardiovascular system and review how, you know, the blood flows through the heart and the veins and arteries. And so I watched extra videos and kind of reviewed that information. But really, when it comes to exams, you just gotta know the diseases. Just know the summary of the diseases, the most important parts, the most important pieces of information about the disease. And with that, you'll be fine. So of course, you know, this is nursing school now. Like, we're really into the full swing of nursing school, so you need to stay on top of your studying. Review sessions, those are your opportunities to ask questions and get clarification from, you know, the professor. It does suck that we have to take patho like this. Like, I really wished we had lectures. But at the same time, I also feel like even if we did have lectures, you still have to teach yourself, and you still have to study, you know what I mean? You could have a professor read off of PowerPoints, and it's like, anybody can read off of PowerPoints. I can read off of PowerPoints. So, you know, having lectures or not having lectures, it really just depends on you and what type of learner you are. I learn best also by reading, so I'm a really good reader. I learn things from, you know, being a visual learner. And so I find ways to, you know, use my learning abilities, I guess. I don't know, it's really hard to explain, but you get what I mean. So yeah, so what you need to do with each unit, this is what I did. Before each unit or each week, I would go through the chapter, and I would get a sheet of paper. And so I have these as examples for you guys. This is what I did. So for example, the digestive system. I would go through the chapter, and I would write down every disease within the chapter. Hold on, is it focusing? There you go. So I would write down every disease within the chapter, and so what I would do is I would go through the chapter, I would study, I would read the PowerPoints, I would read a little bit from the textbook, I would use flashcards. So every disease in the chapter, it's probably going to show up on the exam as well. So every disease in the chapter, that's really what you need to know. You know, for digestive diseases, there's a lot of them, but whatever in the book, that's what you need to know. So I would read the PowerPoints, read the information on the PowerPoints, I would read extra information in the book, I would use flashcards, I would also use Picmonic and nursing.com. And so I would literally go through all of these diseases, check them off. Once I studied them, check them off. And so that's how I would study, and I would look at the information in different ways with flashcards, PowerPoint, book. So you get what I'm saying. So with that, I would study each chapter. So I would go through every disease and I would learn, you know, the basic summary of the disease. Because like I said, that's really what you need to know. You need to know the basic summary, the overall summary of the disease. And that's pretty much it. So you pretty much go through every disease. Exams were 50 questions. So you don't necessarily get tested on everything you learn. But then again, you don't really know what's on the exams. They don't really tell you what's on the exams. So you really just have to prepare. Each exam, we had 3 exams. The first one I did really bad. I barely passed it because I literally read the whole chapters. Like I sat and I read through the entire chapters, and I did learn, you know, a bit by doing that. But what I learned was that I didn't retain the information just by reading through the chapters. Like I thought I was reading through the chapters and I'm like, I'm gonna do really good on this exam. I read the chapters. And then the first exam came and I was like shocked at how like poorly I did. I was expecting to make an A, and here I am barely passing it. So yeah, that was a learning lesson that I had to learn. So find ways to learn the information in different ways, so that way it'll help, you know, make it stick in your brain. That's pretty much it for Patho. If you have any questions, please feel free to ask me in the comments. But like I said, don't panic, like you got this. Now like I said, if you have lectures, great. If not, that's fine. Your extra assignments, those are going to boost your grade, and so you're going to do fine. Pretty much everyone in my course passed. Everyone in my course was successful. Everybody had different methods going on, so you really just need to find your methods of studying. So now on to health assessment. Health assessment was so much fun. I loved health assessment. My professor was amazing. She was incredible. Lots of experience. Her lectures were really fun. She was really funny, enthusiastic, and yeah, just super fun. I loved getting to be hands-on. We got to go on campus and we got to do labs, and I got to see my classmates, and I was really happy about that. I loved using the mannequins and just all of that. It was just so much fun. Yeah, I mean, I know some people say like labs are pointless, but in my opinion, labs are really fun. I liked labs and we really learned a lot. My teacher, my professor for my course, my health assessment course, she really helps you understand what you're doing. You're not just doing things like and they're pointless. Like, she really helps you understand why you are assessing certain things, what you're looking for, and yeah, she really helps you understand all of that. So labs were really fun. Exams, some exams are pretty straightforward. Like, the information that you're tested on is pretty straightforward information that, you know, it's information that you learn in lectures. It's the same information you learn in labs as well. Some exams, we had, I think 3 exams. I think we had 3. I don't exactly remember anymore. My brain is like fried. For some exams, the questions were pretty straightforward. There were other exams where there were questions. There are questions that do make you think. You know, these are your critical thinking questions, like your typical nursing questions. All of the questions will have, you know, more than one right answer, and so you have to pick the most correct answer, but it's, in my opinion, it's still pretty straightforward. And so with the health assessment, you also have some assignments to do as well. So those help boost your grade. For health assessment, we had to do some lab videos. So we had to like record ourselves like at home, you know, doing our assessments based off of what we learned that week. Those were pretty simple, very easy to do. I'll probably insert like a clip of that or whatever.
Trying to record a video for nursing school with my mom.
About 20 minutes. First, can you please verify your name, your full name and date of birth for me, please?
Silvia Arce, Marzo 3, 60.
Okay, very good.
Otra vez.
Okay, so let's try this again. Knock knock. Well, hello, my name is Adrian. I'll be your student nurse today. Are you laughing, Mom? Mom! So overall, with health assessment, it's pretty straightforward. When you take health assessment, you are given a document. You're given access to this document. So mine is pretty abused, like it's pretty, but this is your head to chest, because in health assessment 1, that's what you take, it's head to chest, right? So on this document, you have everything that you need to do when you're doing your assessment, because towards the end, you have to do checkoffs, and checkoffs are extremely important. You have to demonstrate all of the bolded on the sheets. I hope it'll focus, yeah. So everything that's bolded, that's all of the things that, those are all of the things that you have to hit when you do your checkoff demonstration. And so for us, checkoff demonstrations began in week 6. So by the time we got to week 6, we had to be ready to do our head to chest assessment. I thought the landscaping people were coming in. Anyways, so yeah, so you have to demonstrate, so yeah, you have to show every single one of these. So every week when you go to lab, you know, you'll practice 1 or 2 sections in this document. You practice with a mannequin, you practice with other students, or, you know, you basically rehearse and, you know, practice the demonstration or those sections of, you know, the assessment. By week 6, I had to make sure that I completely memorized, you know, this whole document. So there's like several pages, and I have all these notes written down from labs and stuff. And so when it came time to prepare for my demonstration, I would practice my assessment with the sheet, and then I would practice without the sheet. And anytime that I got stuck or that I forgot a section, I would redo my assessment with the sheet, and I would do it without, and I would alternate, you know, with the sheet, without the sheet, until I completely memorized, you know, the entire assessment. And another thing that's also really helpful is it's also really helpful to memorize the order of the sections and then start memorizing all of the things that you have to do, and you start doing your, you know, your head to chest assessment. So that's what I did. And so when it came time for me to do my demonstration on campus, I did my demonstration in 9 minutes. So that was pretty, I had one of the fastest times in the whole class, and I was so proud. I was really proud of myself. So yeah, so overall, I think I definitely spent way more time studying for patho than for health assessment. Health assessment is pretty straightforward, and I maintained a pretty good grade in the course throughout the entire time. For patho, I did do poorly on the first exam, but I boosted my grade, you know, and then I improved my studying methods, and I did pretty good on both of my courses. So this is not a session that you should like panic over. You just got to take it 1 week at a time. Make sure you take time to study for both. And yeah, you just got to figure out how you learn. You need to study based off of how you learn information. And so that's pretty much it. That's pretty much it for this video. I don't really know what else to say. This video is getting pretty long. So if you have any questions, please leave me a comment. Send me an email, DM me on Instagram. I'm very active on Instagram, so follow me on Instagram, send me a message, and I'll be happy to help you. So other than that, thank you so much for watching, and I'll see you next time.